I don't have.
Okay, that's fine. Hi, everyone. We are here together today, and we are so grateful to be together. And well, whoa, I just started with gratitude. And the reason I've starting with gratitude is because there are three of us here today. I am Gail Straker. I am the community manager for Lipedema Simplified. And I am here today with the wonderful, amazing Catherine Sayo, the director and founder of Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project. And then, of course, we have our very own Siobhan Huggins, who is a research specialist with Lipedema Project and all around nerd. I don't know how else to put it.
Sure, that works.
She
It's
loves
not
it.
inaccurate.
Not inaccurate. Anyway, we are so glad that you are here today. I see we already have 11 viewers, but I don't have any comments. So let me know where you're coming from today and how much you love us and anything you want. I mean, you can give us
What did
anything
you
you
have
want.
for lunch? I'm always curious about
What did
that.
I have for lunch?
Yeah,
Well,
what did everybody have for lunch? Put that in the comments
put
too.
it in the comments. What did you have for lunch today?
I haven't
Anyways,
eaten yet.
I
So,
did. So this is what's new and coming up with Lipedema, and we do have some stuff that's coming up. We have what we call a coaches special interest group. We call it a CSIG, and it is actually a course. I don't know. I call it a course, but we're starting with an event Monday that you can come see if you want to hang around for the rest of the course. So the first session, come register for it. I put the link in the comments, and I will also put the link in the banners so that you can see it. This is what I just put in the comments. Make sure that you give that a little click in the comments and register. So, what it basically is, it's called Thriving Through the Holidays. We find it very difficult often to navigate all of the events that we go to, all the activities we have going on.
Especially the food events.
Well, yeah, especially the food events. But I mean, every event, there's so much emotion in the holiday that the food events become food events, emotional food events. Parties become emotional drinking events. I mean, you name it. We've always got this emotional event happening. Even people coming to our homes, we want to we have old-fashioned ways and thoughts that say, "Hey, we've got to fix some food. We got to feed them. That's how we show love." And sometimes those are pretty detrimental to our own personal health. And so one of the things that we've done over the last couple of years is we have offered a CSIG called Thriving Through the Holidays. And that starts on Monday. So please make sure that you register for that. If you're able to, come to the first event, see if you want to stay for the rest of them. So, anyway, so we now have
The first event is Monday,
Monday, the
7
20th.
p.m. Eastern Time, which is 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific Time, and
8
midnight.
8 a.m.
8
8
a.m.
a.m.
in
in Perth.
in Perth, yes. And then 10 a.m. in Melbourne.
Right.
And I think New Zealand too. Or maybe
It might be 11 in New
11, I think it's 11 a.m. in New Zealand, in Auckland.
Yeah, and we do have
Oh, we got a heart. Somebody gave us a heart.
I know. One heart. So we have some people on here that I haven't seen before with their names. I welcome. We have All Warriors Jim from Scotland, Patty Flagg. Hi, I've seen your name before, and Tanya Manahan from Australia. It's good to see everybody here. And Tanya says, "Hi from Australia. I just figured out I have early stages of lipedema. It's been a struggle this year as I've had a lot of pain in my hips and legs. just found an osteopath who's giving her great tips. That's right. We're all finding out more and more about lipedema, and many of us have been able to get help with um, conservative treatments or alternative treatments. We just had a pain clinic with Brian Hayward. It just finished today, and he works with CBD. And so we had several ladies show up and get some help about CBD with that.
And
So
Gail, before you go too much further, we want to say that I'm Catherine Sayo and Siobhan Huggins. Siobhan is our research specialist and overall nerd, right?
overall nerd, general nerd, right? But none of us are nerds here. What? I think we all are, right? And yes,
We all are.
Catherine. Thank you for introducing yourself again. I really appreciate that. And I should probably stop talking if that's a possibility and give somebody else a chance to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and let one of you two say something.
Okay, I do want to say something. It's in the US, it's Thanksgiving week, and it's a funny kind of a holiday because, you know, in a funny way, it celebrates the folks coming from the Europe to the US, and supposedly it's Thanksgiving with the founders and the Native Americans, except that we wiped out all the Native Americans. So this whole thing, and I'm so aware of this underlying whatever causes war, especially as we're going through everything with the Ukraine. And it's just like our world is so crazy right now. And so I want to just focus on what we have to be grateful for, because I feel like I am so profoundly grateful for having our lipedema community. I just had probably one of the roughest weeks I've had with lipedema in longer than I can remember, because I flew for the first time. I figured out the last time I flew, I did have that trip to LA, one trip, and for some reason, it was okay. This trip was not. I got very swollen. I had truncal edema. I've been having a hard time breathing, which is one of the things with truncal edema because the fluid is up here. But I'm getting help so quickly and so easily, and I feel like, we have these challenges. I was on a webinar with Kathy and Anjay yesterday, and I've been after them like to give this talk called Great Challenge Offers Great Opportunity. And I think that's the thing that we share. I know we share that with one another, and I think we share that with all of you. Anyway, that's my little spiel for this week. I'm still dealing with it. I'm actually, I was in the hospital for 2 days, and it was like, oh my God, how did I get here? I learned a lot. I saw my MLD therapist this morning. Thank God she was able to find time for me. Uh, and so I'm definitely on the road to recovery, but it's going to take some time because, boy, am I swollen. I blew up like a balloon. So a couple things. Direct flights. I didn't have a direct flight. I had 2 flights to go from Boston to Charleston, South Carolina, which isn't a long flight, but 2 flights means 2 takeoffs and 2 landings on the way down, and 2 takeoffs and 2 landings on the way home. For those of us with lymphatic disorders, not a good idea. 1 is bad, but 2, anyway. So I'm going to this is going to be my banner for the next month. You can guarantee that I'll be talking about this because, I mean, people have asked me, and us really, how do you fly? How do you make it easier to fly? And I'll tell you, I've never had this much of an issue. Now, brainstorming with Angela this morning, my lymphedema therapist, we came up with that I've been, not traveling for years. The last time I traveled was 2018 that I could figure out when I went to Europe. I went to Prague and to present at a conference there. So I remember that trip, and I remember at the time I was using a walker. So I went with my walker because it was before I got my surgery. So, there are all these things in this mix. So we're going to talk more about it. So that's my my share for today.
Yeah.
Siobhan!
Well, I was just going to say it'll be good to talk about it because I know you've also got travel coming up in February, and that I would think would be able to be a direct flight. But if there's anything else you can think of or I can have prepared for you when you get here, then we should figure that out ahead of time so you can have fun at Low Carb Denver.
Yeah.
In terms of me and gratefulness, I'm grateful for many things. But the main one that I've been thinking about recently because I've just started doing it is I'm grateful for my lymphatic therapist. I've been going and doing MLD sessions and a lot of other stuff, actually, myofascial release and tool assisted stuff and dynamic cupping and a whole bunch of different things. And I've been thinking about it a lot because it's like when I was doing things by myself, like I had tried a whole bunch of different things and they weren't working. And the one thing I didn't try was being more gentle about it. It's like I always want to go full throttle, like obviously not causing damage, but like a step back before that and just maybe that'll help it. And with the work that I've been doing with her, we had a session this week and we both agreed that there's definitely tissue changes in my legs. There's softening. It feels more spongy, more like a normal tissue feeling. And so some of that fibrosis is breaking down in my legs, at least, which is really cool. And I've been getting a lot of education from her. And before I went, I wanted to do self-MLD because I'm not a very touchy-feely person. I don't like other people touching me. And it was very overwhelming and confusing. But even after just one session, I was able to figure out, okay, if you actually know how to do this, it doesn't take that long for what I need to do. And it was really interesting because I'm learning a lot also. Once every other Saturday, I have a dairy day, and I weighed myself in the morning after the dairy day because I knew I would gain weight from it, which is why I don't eat it all the time. And then I did MLD in my legs, waited a little while, and then MLD in my arms, and I went down like 2 pounds and a quarter. It's like, wow, that if that was all fluid, that's like a liter of fluid. And it was a nice reminder of like, this is why you don't do this all the time. But also when it happens, there are things you can do about it. So I've been feeling grateful about that I actually decided to not fly solo for once.
Oh my goodness. The thing about fluid, someone said to me, so what happened for me from the flights is that I had on double compression in my legs. So I had my Solidea. I wear Solidea, which goes from my feet to just under my boobs. And then I had on Circade, which is Velcro wraps, and they were on my calves. Plus, since Gail's been preaching about arm compression, I pulled out my arm compression. So what happened is all the fluid centralized in my trunk. Makes
Mm.
perfect sense. But I looked like I was 9 months pregnant, and it was hard. I mean, and so, someone said, "Well, why can't you just syringe out the fluid?" That would be easy if it could happen that way, except to really understand how the fluid is in what's called the interstitium, which is the space between the dermis, the skin, and the muscle, is this space. And it's all in the tissue. It's actually, the fluid is in the tissue. And I never had as clear an actual visual about it. And what's interesting with what you said, Siobhan, is dairy causes it. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason, dairy can create that. That's why, I mean, if you've noticed, you can get more congested and more mucousy when you eat dairy. I love dairy, by the way, and it's always hard for me not to eat it, but I have to eliminate it at certain times. Um, but this thing about, what it is, and for those, there are some who have just lipedema, and there are some of us who have both lipedema and lymphedema. So it's quite a challenge and opportunity.
Yeah.
Also, we welcome Samir from Algeria. She's hanging out with us now. And let's see. Is it different being in a lower flying, non pressurized plane like a Cessna? Good question. Have no idea. No idea.
Yeah, and the other thing, one of these comments, Jacqueline asked, "What is truncal and it's basically edema of the trunk, so it's torso, kind of upper body area.
Yeah. And also, someone says, "I'm so sorry that you're not at your best." I'm not at my best. I am definitely not at my best right now. But let me say again, because we're focusing on gratitude, is I I there's nothing like being in an emergency room for 10 or 12 hours to really test my advocacy. I've been working on advocacy for so long. And, you know, it's like from the time when, I would say, all right, just tell me what to do and I'll do it, to now being really clear with people. Like, someone came in, my veins are very small. I have very delicate. Something about me is very delicate. My veins are very delicate. And so, the last time I was in the ER, which was not all that long ago, was when I had COVID. Um, and I was in the ER. I was a pincushion because they had a really hard time finding my veins, and they had to get an IV in because I had to have a CAT scan. And so I was a pincushion. So after 6 attempts and they couldn't find a vein, they finally brought someone else in, and she found a vein on the first try. So this time I said to the nurse, I said, "Okay, I want the doctor here. I want an ultrasound. They can use ultrasound to find veins now." So she didn't. And this is what I ended up with. Can you guys see this? No,
Mm-hmm.
the wrong way. Here it is.
Yep.
I'm all black and blue, all hematomas. And but I made her stop after the first try. I said, "That's it, not again." So, and I did it nicely. Well, did I do it nicely? I can't remember. I had been in the ER for several hours at that point. So I'm like, "Nope, ultrasound." So anyway, I keep learning. That's my bottom line.
And
Yeah, I sometimes think about that in terms of like, I'm glad I've never ended up in a hospital up to now, but it's like if I ever do, it's like I already I know who my emergency contact is, and I know he'll keep an eye out, because the thing I'm concerned about is the glucose drips, and those are becoming less standard. I think in some places they'll just give you an electrolyte drip, but I have heard of people who specifically said, "Do not give me a glucose drip." They ignored them, and they had lipedema as well, and they swelled up as a result. And it's like, I will hands will fly if you come anywhere near me with that.
Yeah, and the thing that is important, that self-advocacy is important, but there are times when we cannot speak for ourselves, either simply because we are already under such duress that certain things we don't think about. But I wanted to say something. Yesterday, I was talking to the group of women that come to our movement with Miranda and Gail about you, Catherine, because it was yesterday when I found out you were in the hospital and that you'd had issues with getting a poke. And somebody said, I always ask for a pediatric nurse because with pediatrics, you only have so big of an arm with only, they're super tiny veins. And she always asks for a pediatric nurse to do the poke because she knows it's going to be difficult. And she explains that to them. I want a pediatric nurse. I want this in my file, that I always get a pediatric nurse to start the drip.
Oh
So
my God. Not only that, let me tell you the other thing that she did. I mean, she put a tourniquet on my arm. You don't do that for someone who has lipedema. She didn't put one, she put 2 tourniquets. And I screamed and told her to take it off. It was, and of course, it didn't work, but I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I can just, it's like, oh, I hate those tourniquets. It's just,
yeah.
And
can you just ask to not use one? Is that a possibility? Because I had seen that come up as a topic as well, of like, well, if you have lipedema in your arms, that can be potentially excruciating. And
Yeah,
for me, it's uncomfortable, but I mean, I should try asking to go with that one because my veins are pretty good anyway.
one of the things that I've discovered, and it might sound, for some of us with lipedema in our arms, it might sound a little bit too much, but I ask for a blood pressure cuff, but not fully inflated, gently inflated, so that it does have some pressure, but it's not making me, lose my mind. But I ask for a blood pressure cuff, gently inflated, just to give them a little bit of that pressure, so that, it's not so bad. And Juanetta here says that to use, someone in the lipedema group said she carries a cloth tourniquet instead of the rubber ones. So
oh my God, that one was so freaking painful. It was amazing. Anyway, sorry, I was wanting to talk about gratitude, but I end up talking about all this, but I think it's something that people need to know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and Catherine, the thing is like, I knew you flew in 2021 because I know you flew out to Los Angeles and you didn't have a problem with it. But whatever happened this time happened. So when we look at it that way, we need, we might be okay flying over and over again, and then one time it isn't, for whatever the reason. And so then we need to know what to do about it. So these are just, this is such a valuable topic. And as you can see, there are a lot of comments going on about this. And like Julie says, she's just grateful for the shared knowledge.
Yeah. I think I want to create a fireside chat about this because I'm learning so much and I want to share it with everyone. And I think people have such good ideas. Let us know in the chat if that's something you'd be interested in, a fireside chat talking about travel and all the different other issues that we have to face when we have swelling episodes.
I would be interested.
Okay, me too. That's enough. That'll give us what we need.
Oh my gosh. And Julie says she's totally grateful for all the information you delightful gals have shared.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good way to start the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And people, Marguerite Andrews says, yes, please for fireside chat. Jacqueline says, me too.
Yeah.
Annetta has just named it. It's called Preventative and Emergency Measures Related to Travel.
Oh, that's good, Juanetta.
There it is. See?
Yeah,
There you
yeah. Will you copy and paste that and for us?
I will.
Okay, we need to go because we have another meeting in 3 minutes.
Yeah, we do. So thank you, thank you all for being here. Sorry, Catherine, I was copying and pasting. What do you expect from me to be? Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Oh, this is great. That's who named it. I love the name.
Juanetta.
Juanetta?
Juanetta,
Perfect.
send it to me in an email.
Yeah, Juanetta, send it to both Gail and I in an email.
Yeah, don't worry about
Gail
it.
doesn't open her emails. I always have.
I open it.
She doesn't read them till the end.
On occasion. So, yeah. So, but I do take a good ribbing, don't I, Catherine?
Oh, honey, I love you so much.
So I keep
And I
Catherine.
tease you. You tease me all the time.
I know. We keep each other on our toes, and we just hang around each other for comedic effect, comedic relief, and then we keep Siobhan. She's for whatever reason.
I'm staying out of it.
But so she stays out of it. Anyway, thank you, all of you, for being here with us tonight. And we hope you have a wonderful holiday season. We hope to see many of you at our CSIG. Please make sure that you register for that. If you have any questions, always just go to Lipedema Simplified. Just search it. We pop up, and we will be happy to hear from you. With that, I'm going to say good night, everyone. Have just a beautiful, beautiful day.